Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chatter Squadron, your weekly dose of Star Wars fun and positivity. My name is Tyler Bucks.
And my name is Logan Hansaker. What is up, you rebel scum?
Well, we have a lot of things up today, as you see on the screen. We're talking about a leaked photo from the Andor set. Sebastian Stan talks about maybe being Luke. Maybe, big maybe. And then also ACME Archives Direct is famous.
They're famous.
Big time. So I am super excited to talk about a lot of these things today. But Logan, would you like to tell them how to win that art that is behind us?
Oh, sure. There's art behind us, and you can win it by commenting in on any of our videos that we released in the month of March. What month are we in? March. And actually, right behind us, we have The Dark Side by artist Vance Kelly from ACME Archives Direct, who is now famous, as we know.
Which we will get into.
Right. We will get into the scoop. Here's a little Lucasfilm license, certificate of authenticity. And this is actually, I believe, our last episode that's going to be in March. So your last chance to win The Dark Side. Comment in. And you're entered in to win.
Yes. And also, a way you can help support the show is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Chatter Squadron. You can rise the ranks there. We just got a new Patreon member. They're known as patrons, Tyler.
Right.
A new Commodore, actually. So we would like to thank our Commodores because at that level, they get a thank you every single episode. So thank you to Commodore Marroquin,
Commodore
Rayside, and Commodore. See, this is why we aren't the best squadron around, because I don't remember his last name. So go ahead and talk about the Tiny Chair of Tiny Victories.
Tiny Chair of Tiny Victories.
Because we're not going to say everybody's last name and not say his last name.
Oh, we'll get everyone.
Right.
But yeah, Tiny Chair of Tiny Victories. And I know, if you follow us on Instagram, you can also be entered into a chance to be on our set right back there. Our tiny king/queen is still Hey It's B from last week. Followed us on Instagram. And yeah, you can live on our set forever or until you're dethroned.
Hey guys, it's Benty. That's what it is. So thank you to Commodore Marroquin,
Commodore
Rayside, and Commodore Benty. Hey, we figured it out all on our own, everybody.
Well, I said we were missing something before the show, but we always say that. So
right.
It doesn't hold any weight anymore.
It was definitely true. Like, there was something we were missing because I didn't want to say Commodore Chad when like everybody has their own
last name.
Fun last name thrown in there. Thank you so much, Commodore Benty, for joining us on our Patreon and also being very much like, please, I'm here to help.
It's me. It's Benty. You're the man.
See, I knew it as we were getting closer to like doing the things. I'm like, there's something in this part, the beginning, of course, that we forgot.
Well, now because it's Commodore Marroquin, Commodore Rayside.
Yeah.
Now we got 4.
Right, 4. So yes, thank you to him, and you can join the ranks and also get a proper shout out. We'll be much better about it every single episode when you become a Commodore. But yeah, you talked about the Tiny Chair.
Tiny Chair.
We've been doing a lot of different stuff on social media as well. If you want to check out our Twitter, we are trying to grow that even more. And another thing we were doing on the Twitter recently is we just posted the statement I made about #PositiveSquad. If you want to see us posting about other shows, Twitter is the best place to see that because it's easy to tag people, retweet, all that stuff. So we're doing #PositiveSquad mainly over there. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Well, Positive Squad, right? Not Posit. What was the other one?
The Positivity Squad is what we almost called it.
Right. Is the almost one. But yeah, let's let's get into this first story here.
So yes, the first story of today, like we talked about, art is usually from ACME Archives Direct. So we'll be getting to that in a little bit. You can win it. You can also get the art. But then we're talking about a different type of art, which is set photos from the Andor series. Logan, would you like to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, if you print out the set photo that was leaked and hang it on your wall, it's art. There you go.
Yeah.
So we have, so there was some leaked set photos from the the show Andor that they're filming now. Or is it Kenobi? No, it's Andor.
No, it's definitely Andor.
We already covered that in a video that hopefully no one watched because we had major technical difficulties. Okay.
Yes.
Production. Here's a little bit about the story about Andor. Production is currently underway on the new Disney Plus series Star Wars Andor, the prequel to spin-off film Rogue One, a Star Wars story with actor Diego Luna reprising his role. New set photos reveal a standoff between a villainous stormtrooper and an unhappy mob.
So let's take a quick look at this picture. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. So here we go. It's from far away. It's kind of hard to tell that this is exactly what they're describing in the article.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, this is that set that we talked about all those episodes ago that people thought were for the Obi-Wan series, but it's actually for Andor. But I think the biggest takeaway when it comes to this is not only is the set functional, not only are there people working on the set, but it looks like they're filming.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's underway.
Which is a huge thing, especially, the pandemic is still going on and a lot of productions have been stalled because of that. And now we're able to see like, hey, it's still moving, it's still rocking. I like in the very center pretty much of the picture, you got one stormtrooper kind of standing alone in the background there.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if he's supposed to be there or he was just late to do this shot.
I mean, he's just started.
Right.
It's like he can't get through the mob. I love how descriptive this, it is of the picture. It's like, oh, there's a standoff with a villainous stormtrooper and an unhappy. It's like, yeah, that could be a happy mob. Well, unhappy mobs and happy mobs.
I'm gonna bring it up again because it's interesting like that. Okay, if this is the villainous stormtrooper, I don't know if he's that villainous.
Right.
If it's one versus like 72 people.
Right.
But I don't know also why there's some squares in the middle of this.
I've seen one person take on 72 stormtroopers. So I couldn't imagine one stormtrooper versus, the inverse.
That's a good point. But yeah, so that's the villain. Does he look villainous from his stance? That stormtrooper there?
He looks like a pretty average stormtrooper, which I guess is villainous, actually. So yeah, they nailed it.
So the new photo is from Daily Mail, but Luna himself said the story for the series will explore places unseen in Rogue One and that it feels like a very long movie compared to what we've previously seen. And I think that's what a lot of these new Disney Plus shows are going to be. It feels like it's going to be a very long, movie because WandaVision could have been a movie.
Yeah.
Felt like a very long movie.
Well, I mean, I know we talked about it before. We both haven't seen it yet, but the Snyder Cut, 4 hours long just dropped and no one has a problem with it. Everyone's like, oh, it's 4 hours. And then they watch it and it's like worth it. A lot of people are saying that movies, if they're adding in enough detail, should be longer.
Well, I'll say Siths shouldn't deal in absolutes, and neither should you. Not everybody is totally okay with it.
I'm a Sith. Confirmed.
What can I say? I deal with the underbelly of the Force over here.
Right.
I'm a Jedi, like my uncle's grandfather before me. I think it's very interesting to tell a story, even though we know where it ends, Luna told The Hollywood Reporter. The way you can approach a story like this inevitably takes you into a deeper process of reflection. I tend to use that word a lot. So once you know what Cassian is capable of, then there's room for so much more exploration. And that's something that excites me a lot as an actor. I think the format of a series is amazing because we have a lot of time to explore all those layers. And that's something I think Cassian definitely has for him as a character is he's very layered. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's something that we saw in Rogue One right away.
Yeah. I mean, he shot somebody right in the back and you were like, uh-oh, this is kind of a different version of the rebellion than we know.
These are the good guys. I also like, he said it's interesting to tell a story even though you already know where it ends. And I think that's funny for like any media, because like people rewatch things all the time. They'll watch something.
I'm rewatching The Office.
I've rewatched The Office probably 100 times. But I think it's even funnier for a Star Wars fan to like have an issue. Obviously there's no issue here, but if you did with watching something, knowing how it's going to end, because I think that's the whole the whole universe is with the prequels. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no, you would never watch those. You never watch anything.
I never understood when people talked about Andor and like, what, he's getting a series? We know what happens. It's like, yeah, okay. So do you not watch the original trilogy as well? Because, oh, well, you know that Vader's going to die and he's not going to be in Force Awakens.
Spoilers.
Sorry, spoiler alert, everybody. I want to go. We do have a lot of really great comments here. Commodore Benty said the stormtrooper would miss all his shots at the 72 people.
Yeah.
We had somebody else agree with Jason, and there are chances that the lone stormtrooper in that large crowd hits anything. What are the chances? Very slim.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to 72. It's 72%.
Right.
That he won't hit anything.
Don't tell me the odds.
And we have a lot of people who don't like you, Logan. Sith scum. We got from Fartley Jensen. We have Trevor saying Sith spit. Very bad against you today.
Yeah, and Siths as a whole.
I'm happy.
Which is a positive.
Compared to several weeks before where everybody loved you. Now it seems like they're just all turning against you.
They turn quick, man. They turn quick.
They're like Anakin in Revenge of the Sith.
5 minutes, you want to go arrest Palpatine, and then you're killing children.
And then you're killing children. I mean, everybody's had. I'm not going to say that.
He's a Sith now.
I'm not going to say that.
That's good. I want the chat to be against Sith.
But yeah, like he was saying there, I think the format of a series is amazing because we have a lot of time to explore all those layers. And I want to see him kind of do something for Star Wars in that way of changing what a good character is and what their motivation is. Yeah. Because we see that glimpse of it in Rogue One. We see him almost kill Jin's dad, and like he does a lot of stuff like that, but then he kind of crosses over into like the hope side of things, right? But we want to see him get to that point in this series, and it's kind of hard to do that, say, in Rogue One, because what if we saw a scene before that with him and he was really good, and then we have a very quick character transformation. Now he's going to do anything to, for the cause or whatever.
Right.
That would be hard to kind of convey, and you wouldn't really have enough time to really flesh that out. Jarring, exactly. But this is giving him a chance to have maybe 2-3 episodes where he is very hopeful, and then a couple episodes where his hope gets taken away, and then he has to, by the end, go to different means than what he's used to.
Yeah, getting more details into that journey of how you go from joining the rebellion, which does seem like a very good cause, to then doing quote unquote whatever it takes for the rebellion. And I think he's right too, obviously. Where it's like if you're not so much worried about like you already know where his story ends. So you don't have to, you know what I mean? You don't focus on that as much, and you can get more into like the meat of character development and adding those layers.
Well, I mean, he's a character that a lot of people really enjoy because number one, Diego Luna is very good at portraying that character, but also because it, like, a lot of people like saying they would be in the Empire and all those types of things because of that, like, kind of don't care, kind of like, pessimistic view of things or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
I joined the Empire. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so Cassian kind of gave this different, change to that. Like, okay, all the rebels aren't all like, yes, I'm going to destroy the Empire. Like, who is that? Dak?
Yeah. He can take on the whole Empire by himself.
I feel like I'm going to take on the whole Empire by myself.
Yeah.
No, see, a lot changes in 5 minutes in the Star Wars universe.
He got blasted in the ship.
Yeah, but then he gets
smashed. Yeah. No, both.
It's smooshed.
Oh, smooshed.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to make it a little
get it right.
Lighter.
I want to say with Trevor in the chat saying one of the big complaints of Rogue One is that the characters have too much potential backstory for just one movie. The Andor series could potentially enhance Rogue One. I agree with that. Yeah. That's something someone, when they saw Rogue One, had an issue with it, was just like, man, they made you like all these characters and then they all just died. Like, what's the point of it?
Right.
And it's like, well, what's the point with any movie then? Because you and I, we're very similar with that type of thing of like, we don't like things to just be how they always are in every other film. Right. And in that sense, it's like, okay, does this have to have a happy ending? you know.
It's a war movie.
Exactly.
So
but some war movies have all happy endings and everything. Some don't. And this is a war movie. It kind of personifies the war in Star Wars.
Right.
And to kind of give it a realistic ending where everybody dies, then it's a little bit like we were just saying, real. I think we appreciate realism in media.
I think that's why. I mean, maybe not right when it first came out. I know we've discussed that a little bit, but Empire Strikes Back, you know, everyone loves that because it wasn't this happy, cheerful. It was a little more real. It was like, oh man, these heroes can, you know what I mean? So it is a little bit like that. It's a little bit of realism. The hero's not always going to win. You're still going to want them to win. And even more so in this, where you know, you do have that little bit of gray area where it's like, okay, you have this cause, you're fighting against this empire. You can't keep your hands clean the whole time while you're doing that. You know what I mean? You're going to have to do something in the middle there. So, yeah, I don't know.
A question I want to ask, well, actually, Logan posed this question. Are you excited to see Cassian and or his Rebel Squad? What's the meaning behind this? Is that just wordplay?
Yep. Just sheer wordplay.
It made me pull out my headphone. But yeah, are you excited to see the Cassian Andor show? I know we have Book of Boba coming soon, which that's crazy too, that we haven't seen really any production photos or any like leaks for that.
They're keeping it under wraps.
Maybe they're filming it all in the Sarlacc pit.
They're filming it all underground.
It's all in just one set. It's like WandaVision, where it's like a one camera audience and everything.
Right.
He comes in through like the esophagus.
So it's all before, you're saying.
Exactly.
It's like a prequel when he's getting out of the Sarlacc pit.
Right. The Book of Boba chapter. It's the prelogue.
Yeah.
Before the Book of Boba, everyone was expecting to see him. He got to.
That's season 2.
Maybe the scene we saw at the end of Mandalorian is the very first scene in the Book of Boba, right? And then he sits on the throne and then he goes, I guess you're wondering how I got here.
Yeah.
Or I guess you're wondering how I got here.
We're going to have to take you back.
Yeah. And then he comes in.
Years.
Because if I remember the Sarlacc pit, like it keeps you in and it like makes you hallucinate and stuff inside of it.
Yeah. And when it keeps you alive.
It keeps you alive as well. I don't know why it's Star Wars logic, but so if he's hallucinating, he can hallucinate that he's a part of a sitcom.
Yeah, that's when he first started having his spice dreams.
Yeah.
It goes into Boba's spice dreams of him in a sitcom.
Maybe that's all he had to eat when he was in the Sarlacc pit to stay alive. He had to eat all of his spice.
That'd be so great. I'm just picturing, like, you know, if it is in WandaVision form where it's like the 50s and it's just Boba Fett in like a suit and it's just the helmet
and a bowler hat that he puts on the
on the antenna. It just like rests up there.
All right, let's see if people are excited to see well I wanted Commodore Benty was saying it's a war movie that in the overall end of the war is happy, but in the moment it was not a happy ending.
Right. Like what you're achieving or striving to achieve is positive and happy, but you know, in war you're not going to get there with it all being happy. A good point.
Trevor said Cassian was my favorite character from Rogue One, so I might check it out. I might check it out. He's not sure. He was my absolute favorite. I loved him to death. I have posters of him all over the place. I've bought every one of his action figures.
I would die for him.
I would probably die for him. I might check this out.
Yeah, maybe.
Big time, maybe checking this one out. Rick talking about cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. So they don't even care about like copyright infringement. You know what I mean?
They're just taking it.
It's ours now. We're Star Wars. What do you want?
They could pay enough money and get it.
I do want to see, like Rick is saying, more Bor Gullet. Where's that prequel series about the Bor Gullet?
Bor Gullet.
Bor Gullet! Bor Gullet will know the truth. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Lies! Every day more lies. Saw Gerrera.
I was going to say
in Rogue One.
It sounds like you're doing a Saw Gerrera voice, but Bor Gullet.
Bor Gullet will know the truth. It's
Yeah.
the big slimy thing that, like, with the pilot who taps into his brain.
Oh, mate. Oh.
With the tentacles.
Don't they do that to like get answers? It's like a tortured device type of thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
But it's not a device. It's a creature.
It's a creature.
Right.
It's like
that has a family somewhere that we need to see that story.
That's the story that I want to see. The Bor Gullet family.
Let's see.
It's like, do you know what I'm talking about? It's like, no, not even.
See, he's a Sith, but he is at least
I'm an honest Sith. You know,
Bradley says, here's the story all about how my life got flipped upside down. I like to take a minute and sit right here and tell you how I survived the pit.
The pit of Sarlacc.
The pit of Sarlacc.
Just do like a Fresh Prince take on it.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to edit that together,
amazing.
It would be the best. We're going to go to Jim. What would you say, Meyer?
Yeah, Meyer.
If you haven't seen Diego Luna talk about Jabba the Hutt in interviews, you have to see it. I pray that Jabba is in this. So
his texture.
I was being very particular on not bringing up Jabba the Hutt because anytime I talk about Diego Luna, I can't help but think about Jabba. Jabba, I want to touch him. I want to feel his texture. The way he says texture.
Yeah.
I want to feel his texture. I mean, it's just so, like.
He's so interested.
So if you haven't, like, Jim, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. That's Chatter Squadron branding. We don't know how to say names, but Diego Luna, when I was doing an episode on him, I think it was like, hey, he might be having a series or whatever. So I was like, oh, cool. So I looked up some stuff about Diego Luna. And one of the first things that comes up is Diego Luna loves Jabba the Hutt. So somebody put together a super cut. And what's funny about it is you would think like, okay, it's funny. He did it one time in an interview where somebody asked him about like his favorite characters or whatever. He talked about Jabba the Hutt. And like the first interview is just kind of funny because he's just like, yeah, Jabba. I mean, I want to touch him. I want to feel his texture, like, and it's like funny and whatever. And then the next interview starts where he talks about Jabba and, Jabba. I mean, I want to feel him. I want to touch him. And then the next one and then the next one. And there's like 10 interviews of him different ways. And he's even there with, what's the name of the person who did Jyn Erso? That's not Felicity Jones.
Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
There's even one where they're together. Do you remember that? And the interviewer asked him if he would French kiss Jabba, and he was like, I mean, I think the interviewer says, I mean, who would French kiss Jabba? And he's like, I mean, speak for yourself.
It's like
he talks about how he has a little statue of Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, he loves Jabba.
If he's not in this, I will be a little upset if that's not the case. I mean, Rick knows what we're talking about. He just said, Jabba. I want to feel his texture.
I want to touch him.
Everybody loves Jabba from Trevor, the newest sitcom on Disney Plus.
Everybody loves Jabba.
That would be great. I mean, you're learning Huttese.
Yeah.
So maybe you could be like one of the translators on the show.
I'll just be like the C-3PO. The translator.
Well, you can be a robot in a show, right?
I hope so. Be a robot right now.
I don't know if we can bounce back from talking about Jabba and how Diego Luna wants to feel his texture. So would we like to move on to the fact that ACME Archives Direct is famous?
Famous! Where is it?
Oh, there you go.
Famous!
Perfect. I'm happy you didn't hit a bunch of other stuff.
Just start like really messing up the soundboard. Where is that thing? Oh, I'll just turn some knobs.
Famous!
Punching it.
ACME Archives Direct is famous.
They are famous. I saw this story come through this week, and I was like, that is dope. That's super cool. And I clicked on it, and yeah, it was an interview between StarWars.com and the artist Christophe Vacher, I think.
Chatter Squadron, man. We don't know how to say names.
The sad part is I look up names right before we go on, and then they just shoot right out of my brain.
Oh, me too.
Right before I say them.
And right before I say a name too.
Vacher.
Right before I say a name, I get a minor panic attack of like, I'm going to mess this up.
And then you do.
Big time.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Of course.
Regardless, there was an interview between StarWars.com and the artist about a piece of art called Until Our Last Breath, which is super cool. And I don't know if we have it up on the screen.
Oh,
but if not, I can throw it up there.
I'm going to pull it up for you right now.
Yeah, I'll let you guys see it. And then I'll give this little almost like a little description from it. And there's a very cool interview, and I'll read some of it. I won't go the whole thing. If you want to see the whole interview, which I encourage you to do, go to StarWars.com and check it out.
It's actually on StarWars.com. That's what's so cool about
StarWars.com. But yeah, so here's the little description. Poised and determined to continue the fight, Leia Organa stands among the snow-capped mountains, her regal cloaks billowing around her, a blue-bladed lightsaber at her side, ignited and ready for yet another battle. To quote Luke Skywalker, it's like something out of a dream. Or perhaps as your eyes glide beyond the horizon and the shadow of the Imperial Star Destroyer snaps into focus, it's more accurate to say it's a nightmare for the young rebel hero.
Beautiful piece, as always. ACME Archives Direct, Lucasfilm license and everything are always absolutely outstanding. And like we talk about all the time, they are connected with Lucasfilm. They are connected with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about this interview that they had. But they go deep into the creation of this piece, and it's gorgeous, and it really makes you feel like, did this happen at some point? Like, did Leia at some point take on the remnants of the Empire with her lightsaber, and it looked just like this,
that the Star Destroyer just looming in the background. But it was pretty, and I thought it was a very thought-provoking interview as well. I know, I just from the questions being asked, I've seen interviews and I've even done a few interviews. I don't think I'm very good at it, but instead of just like, what was your inspiration? What was, it was a lot of, and I'll go into it right here.
Would you like me to be Mr. StarWars.com?
Sure.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'll be reading for Mr. StarWars.com or Mrs. You never know. You can clearly see the influence of the romantics in your painting style here. What feeling were you hoping to evoke here?
You are absolutely right. Along with the painter's influence, I mentioned earlier, I wanted to infuse a strong sense of epic romanticism in the image. Picking a grand mountain landscape as the backdrop and putting a Star Destroyer in it coming out of the dark clouds gave the proper sense of massive scale I was looking for. The very theatrical sunrise lighting provided the drama, along with the robe floating in the wind and the lightsaber ready to honor its purpose. But beyond their aesthetic value, all these visual elements were there first and foremost to capture the support that moment in time when Leia makes that ultimate choice of becoming a general rather than a Jedi, not to respond to any egotistic drive, but rather to serve and lead her people.
Can you tell us more about the meaning of the title, Until Our Last Breath?
The title is the soul of the image. That's what eventually drove its creation. It underlines not only Leia's determination facing the resurgence of a daunting enemy, but the determination of her people as well. It came to my mind at the same time I had the vision of the Star Destroyer coming out of the clouds in front of Leia. In that moment, it all came together. The feeling of that emanated from Leia.
You got it.
That's a word. Her frailty as a human being, yet her calm and sheer determination to fight the Empire again. Her will to give it all she had until her very last breath, and to serve as a leading example, not by arrogance, but by self-sacrifice for the love of her people.
So we've talked about, even recently, don't cry. It's going to be okay, Logan. We talked about even recently how Leia seems to be much more stronger than a lot of other characters in the series, especially that moment where her entire planet gets blown up once again, like 5 minutes earlier. And then now Luke, who she just met, this guy who he just met got killed, and now she's putting a blanket on him,
consoling him.
Hey, it's gonna be okay.
It's like, I just lost my whole planet. Everyone I probably knew, even could have known, any remnants of any history,
anything I liked or knew.
Yeah, all my memories.
Gone. Right.
Now they're just memories. But here, I hope you feel better. You know, that old guy you just met, like come artist too, which is cool. He touched on, which is like her devotion, I guess, to her people as a leader. And I know Luke, obviously, strong hero, strong Jedi. Strong Jedi, stronger character. But
first time caller, long time listener.
But that he still like Jedi, I know they're selfless, but it does seem like that even his path did take him on a little more of a selfish path than, you know what I mean? Because he does end up kind of going away and hiding and all that. Whereas Leia really does stick by her people. She's constant she's a constant leader throughout all of it.
And she knew what was the best thing to do for it was to not be a Jedi and move on and stay as a general.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way, I did put the link to ACME Archives Direct for that piece in the chat. So if you want to check it out, it's right there. And of course, it's ACMEArchivesDirect.com. As always, if you want to check those things out. But the question that we want to pose to you guys is, do you wish we could have seen more of Leia and her lightsaber in live action films? I mean, when we say more, it is kind of loose because we got to see like a 15-second scene of her using the lightsaber.
Yeah, real short.
Right.
So I don't know. I know there's a lot of like comics out now where you see Leia with her saber. I do wish we could have seen more because that there's that force sensitivity there, and there's that that she is, she is a Jedi, but she has a capability to be a Jedi.
Yeah,
but we never saw it.
But I think there's a part of that too, which is, once again, we as fans, we tend to want to see a lot of things, but it wasn't in the movie,
right?
And it wasn't in the time frame that we would have seen her use it. The only other time it could have been a possibility is if they found the lightsaber earlier and then she fought with it in the sequel films,
Even at that point, I do think it would have had to be. Yeah, that's tricky. Like, would it have just been more flashbacks? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think The Last Jedi exhausted all the flashback, scenes that they can use in the Star Wars saga. Anyway,
right.
But that was I just liked that layer of knowing that she did kind of go down the path of being a Jedi. And it also tied in with the idea of her training Rey.
Yeah.
Because there is that side of things where you're like, okay, is she, going to be able to train Rey? We don't know if she ever really went down this path.
Did she train?
Right. And then later on in the movie, we get to see that she did get a little bit of training here and there. So like that, we asked if you would want to see more. Commodore Benti said, absolutely. I would have, it would have been great to see her use it. Like that, we saw her use it a little bit. I do love that scene, by the way, where her and Luke fight each other
that training
a little bit. And also just because how it looked really cool.
Yeah.
You know how much I love green lightsabers. So
yeah, you do.
Anytime seeing a green lightsaber, especially in live action, the spoiler alert, the end of The Mandalorian, it's just because like we talk about, the green, wielders tend to be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more not quick to action. They would rather, devise a plan or talk something out or whatever.
Right.
But there's something about that I love when someone who is kind of reserved resorts to that. It's like, all right, time for talking is over. And just the green lightsaber kind of like shows that without anything saying this. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that this person is this way in the Force because of their lightsaber color, but they're still like, all right, it's time to end this right now.
Right. And even getting that more into like the Force of like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I wish, we should have had more scenes, like gratuitous scenes with Leia. I'm just interested in like, what was her fighting style? What was that type of stuff? Like, I always like knowing those little details.
I would love for her to be an Ataru person who is what Yoda used, and same with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
But to just be quick, she could be quick.
Because she's quick-witted.
Yeah.
She's a little, you know what I mean? She's definitely like, I don't want to say abrasive, but you know what I mean? She's got that a bit of like, oh, who's going to say
confrontational.
Those like real quick, a very good opposite to Han, how he is. You know what I mean? That real
little bit more aloof is Han.
Yeah.
Trevor said, I thought it was refreshing that Leia wasn't a Jedi in the sequel trilogy. Being a Jedi/Sith shouldn't be the only path for a Force user. I agree.
Yeah.
That's something that I don't know if it's been dove into enough. I don't know if that's the correct term for that, but just the idea of like just normal people being Force users, but not in any creed, especially when the Jedi Order fell.
Right.
But if we think about Anakin, like the Force obviously crafted this whole thing so that they could find him and all this or whatever, but he was super Force sensitive. And even Qui-Gon said, we probably didn't know about him because you're so far out in from the core systems, you know?
Right.
So think about that. Like somebody as powerful as Anakin, that the Force happens to say, oh, they're not going to get found. Just people like plowing a field, lifting up stones away from stuff just on their own,
right,
you know?
Right. Yeah. Not being like that. Yeah. Well, we saw that, was it The Last Jedi with the, the ending scene with the broom sweeping and just using the Force, just to, like little things like that, just using Force in their daily lives, but not a dedicated Jedi through the training.
But speaking of Luke and that flashback and everything being young Luke, we're going to talk about another casting rumor that may have been put to bed, which is Sebastian Stan responds about that internet rumor that everybody, I mean, he does look just like young Luke.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stan was asked about the rumor. This is from Entertainment Weekly. Even though it's not a rumor and more dream casting on ABC's Good Morning America on Friday. He said, if Mark Hamill calls me personally to tell me that he feels inclined to share this role with me, then I'll believe it. He said, until then, I won't believe it.
He's waiting for the call from Mark.
This feels like the whole Benedict Cumberbatch thing again, where you can take it in the way of like, well, what would they say if they were offered the role? You know, you can't just say that. But at the same time, this does feel a little bit more out of nowhere for him to just be like, oh, yeah, that I'm remembering that now. Sure, you don't want to talk to me about Winter Soldier and the Falcon,
right.
the show that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, he did shut it down pretty quick. And there's with their use of CGI and how they don't, well, I mean, they do need an actor for the body, but they don't really need someone to look exactly like, like it's cool. It's very cool. Like he looks exactly like a young Luke.
Well, let's think about, Donald Glover as young Lando Calrissian, and then, Alden Ehrenreich as young Han Solo.
Yeah.
When we were talking about this in the lead up to Solo years ago at this point, there was a lot of fan casting of it. Should be this guy, should be that guy. There's a guy online who does a very, very good Harrison Ford / Han Solo impression. And he looks a lot like Harrison Ford / Han Solo, right?
Right.
And when it comes to that, like casting somebody younger and everything, I don't want an impersonation of that person.
No.
I want the essence of that character.
Right.
And I believe it was the person who played Tarkin, did the like face capturing in Rogue One. He didn't really have to do too much facial wise, but he still had to kind of talk and move his face so that the people later can animate him to look like Tarkin.
Line it all up.
And then also the mannerisms and everything, he had to kind of embody him. And what he talked about by stepping into that role, he wanted to find the essence of Tarkin. And I love that as a mindset moving into being this person, find the essence of what, not necessarily, Han Solo, not necessarily Harrison Ford, but find the essence of where that person is in that point in their life. Like this was a younger Han Solo. This was a younger Lando Calrissian.
Right.
So I kind of do like the idea of like, okay, this person kind of looks like a young Luke, but they really kind of nail Mark Hamill and like right after Return of the Jedi, like something along those lines.
Yeah, because otherwise, like you said, it's just a hour-and-a-half long movie or 2 hour long movie, however long movie, of someone just doing their Harrison Ford impression or a Han Solo impression.
Right.
I think that was what I was nervous for with, you brought up Solo with that movie. I was like, because the actor was kind of close in age to when we first saw Harrison Ford / Han Solo in A New Hope. But obviously it's a different person. So it's not like everyone, it doesn't look like him. It's like, well, it doesn't need to, like, that's not what we would want. We wouldn't want this impression for an hour and a half, but he nailed Han Solo.
But I will say, at the same time, of course, you want them to look similar.
Yeah.
It's not just like that guy looks exactly like Harrison Ford. Let's use him.
Just like flowing long blonde hair. This is Han Solo, everybody.
This is Han Solo.
Well, he's younger. He's going to change his look.
Yeah, everybody goes through phases.
Right.
Actually, Mark Hamill himself has pointed out the likeness between him and Sebastian Stan on Twitter. He said, sorry to disappoint you, but I refuse to say, Sebastian Stan, I am your father. parentheses, even though in fact I am. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Hashtag son Sebastian. He tweeted that in 2017.
Wow.
So it's been a long running rumor. And
I've seen this for a while now.
And I'm not going to lie, when I saw him in, spoiler alert, Mandalorian, the last episode, I thought it was Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, oh, did they really get him to do it?
Look it up. Nope.
No, it's not.
Well, I think if they were going to use him, Sebastian Stan, totally could be wrong. I think they should have and probably would have used him in that scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Use him for that. Oh, they finally did it. And then you might see him in like upcoming things. But I feel like the fact that they didn't, probably not.
It's just, I don't know what they would do other than cameos like he was in The Mandalorian, because that's the main character, you know? Right. And would I want to see a Disney Plus show about Rey? I don't know. Would I want to see a Disney Plus show about Anakin? I don't know. That feels like big. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of major. And I don't know if Sebastian Stan as young Luke in a standalone movie or a trilogy, but then now you have to find actors for every other person, because unless it's a trilogy where he's lost on one planet or something away from a bunch of people, and you just have to get young Kylo Ren,
right,
which should be Finn Wolfhard, by the way,
right.
But young Kylo Ren.
People say that I look like him.
Really? I don't see it. Why would
You've said that?
Why
before.
would they say something so wrong about you?
That's what when Stranger Things first came out, and they were like, "Oh, you should watch the show. You look like one of the characters." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I turned it on, and they were calling this dude Frog Face, and I was like, "Is that me?"
No, Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike in Stranger Things. Young Logan and him look very, very close.
Yeah,
but
not anymore.
I can definitely be young George Lucas. So like you could see me in the background of some shots. You know what I mean? You got young Luke, you got young George Lucas.
You didn't get out of the shot.
Right. I'm like, hey guys, are we filming right now? I'd be like that jeans guy in that one episode of The Mandalorian.
Right.
Do you remember seeing that?
Oh yeah, in the background.
Yeah, like one frame you see half of a guy
like peeking out
with just a watch on and wearing some dad jeans. I have a feeling like that is George Lucas back there. Those jeans felt very George Lucas to me.
That's the real CGI.
The question we're asking this time is, who other than Sebastian Stan would you like to see play a young Luke? As always, give us your crazy theories.
Crazy.
Just kind of throw anyone out there.
Hopefully I see a Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah. While you guys are answering that question, who you would kind of have a crazy casting thing with, let's go to Commodore Benti again. He said Donald Glover was a great casting of Lando. I agree.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Trevor said The Essence of Tarkin, the latest Imperial Cologne by Calvin Klein. See, we're just giving a bunch of people ideas.
That's great.
That's the thing. That's all we're doing. We're helping.
By Calvin.
We're
Clone.
helping.
That's amazing.
Oh, was it Calvin Clone? That's great. Calvin Clone.
That's so good.
But a bunch of people have been taking our stuff lately. We talked about Screen Rant weeks ago that they were taking our stuff. You showed me last night, StarWars.com apparently are doing This Week in Star Wars History.
Yeah.
The moment they do Star Wars History with the echo,
we're calling them
you're gonna hear from our lawyers. We own This Week in Star Wars History.
We are the lawyers.
Who else? There was somebody else that just posted something.
Yeah, I sent it to you last night. It was on Instagram. It was someone who referred to the beginning text in Clone Wars as a fortune cookie. Like, it's fine.
And that's the thing. They're going to make a company called Calvin Clone, and Trevor is not going to get anything out of it. We're not going to get any royalties from Essence of Tarkin. I wonder what the Essence of Tarkin would be. You know what I mean? We got Denzel Washington as young Luke. I like it. Trevor said that. I like just skip to the point. Denzel Washington. Luke, everybody.
Like he's not even young, too.
I know. Well, we need somebody. Denzel Washington, who is then playing Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, another actor playing Denzel, playing Luke, playing Mark Hamill.
Commodore Benti is saying Pedro Pascal as everyone.
Every single person.
Every single character, Pedro Pascal.
George would do that. He'd be like, oh, we're just a little CGI.
Well, CGI. What we want to put a green screen right on your face.
Yeah, right here.
It's just a big block.
Just wearing a green
block on their face.
It's just one of those face masks.
This is a different one from Trevor. Oh, no, not Denzel Washington. Trevor said Logan for young Steven Spielberg. Oh my, well, hold on a second here. Wait, hold on. This literally just popped in my head. Are we young Steven Spielberg and young George Lucas? Is that what's going on? Is that our Halloween costume this year?
That would be amazing.
Somebody remember that we said that, here in March. Remind us in October.
Yeah, when it comes around.
For our Halloween episode to do young George Lucas and young Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to see a picture of thank you, please. While that's happening, Trevor also added to it Lucas and Spielberg, the Clone Saga. He does kind of have some curly hair there. Oh, do that one there. I'm gonna download that and put that onto the stream. Because that's possible. We can get this going. I'm gonna find a young George where I look just like him. George Lucas.
We have to put them on the respective sides.
I'm hoping everybody I don't know if we can pull that off. I'm hoping everybody is enjoying us as we Google. A
lot of
Googling going on. I got Toph, my cat, licking my foot. This is what happens when you kind of call things on the fly.
Bam.
All right, you putting it up?
Got it.
We'll put it up.
I'll put it up. Oh, it's the full screen.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's fine.
I want them both out at the same time.
I told you that's not possible. We don't have the technology yet.
It legitimately is not possible. You are correct. I am way ahead of myself.
Don't put it back on. Put it back on.
There he is.
So make that face and then take it off so that people can see how close that could be.
What's that face? What's that expression?
He's very excited about looking at ET right now. So make that face and you're looking the wrong way. Look that way. A little bit higher. Hold up. Boom. Young Steven Spielberg right there. Okay, and now, let's see. I need to be looking this way, right? Yeah, now I'm going to be young George. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, I can actually be. Let's see how to.
Little head tilt. Got the glasses and the beard, man. That's uncanny.
There we go. Young George over here.
That's from THX 1138.
That is from THX. You can tell by the set.
Yeah,
nice white background.
He blends right in.
George before his plaid era. Maybe that's when he decided to do plaid. But he's like,
I'm going to stand out a little more.
I'm blending right in with all this THX stuff. So yeah, that's us. This is Logan. There, ready? And there. Look at that. Okay, good. And then this is me as George.
Need to darken my hair a little bit. Cut the camera.
So when they make the biopic of Spielberg and Lucas,
call us.
That's going to be us, big time.
It's going to be our next audition.
Rick wants to see the motorcycle crash again from THX. Should we play that?
We actually can make that happen.
Here's a side note, everybody. There's not too much more to talk about for the Sebastian Stan thing, so thus we're just doing random stuff here. You know what? Okay, content warning. You're going to see the crash from THX 1138. Here it comes, the bike crash. There's the stunt man riding his motorcycle up the ramp, flies off, gets crushed.
Sandwiched.
Now, Steven, I want to show you this great shot that we got. What do you think about it, Steven?
Oh, I think it's looks a lot like a lawsuit there, George.
Well, I mean, he signed the waivers.
George, I think we need to make the ramp a little higher.
Can I make a movie about a guy who's an archaeologist?
Only if I can make a movie about does he do the Titanic? Is that Spielberg?
No,
is that Spielberg?
No, that's James Cameron.
I was also gonna do Avatar. I think James Cameron and Steven Spielberg are the same.
No, they're definitely not the same.
I mean, E.T. Spielberg. Everything else.
Spielberg did so many movies, and you jump straight to a movie he did not do. How? That's crazy to me.
And then my follow-up one.
Now we're straight up showing the people who are going to cast this movie that you should not play Steven Spielberg because you have no idea anything he's done.
Don't watch this part. I'll study hard for the role. I was also going to jump to Avatar, another James Cameron. It's insane. Maybe I'll just be James Cameron. George Lucas.
Steven Spielberg, he did Weekend at Bernie's, right?
Right.
Just like some random movie. American Pie, right?
That was Lord of the Rings? That's Spielberg? No, that was Cameron.
Spielberg, Sex and the City, right? Big title for him.
Oh. What's Spielberg sound like? Gotta get that.
You're what? We'll get that. Maybe that's the post show.
That was my problem. I didn't have the voice down.
Yeah, and they're like Commodore Benty. Spielberg did Jurassic Park.
That's another one. He did. Yeah. Oh, I let you down.
Oh my goodness.
That's good.
Okay, so yes, the casting has been made for anybody who wants to make that biopic already.
I'm James Cameron.
I'm sure.
Playing Steven Spielberg.
And I'm Michael Bay playing George Lucas.
That's good.
It's like another one of those Inception type things we were talking about. A young person playing young Denzel Washington, who is then playing a young Luke.
Playing a young Mark Hamill.
Yes. All right.
We love layers here.
That's the thing. The one thing I will say when it comes to the Sebastian Stan thing to kind of wrap that up is I'm going to make a big prediction here is that Mark Hamill will play an older Sebastian Stan before he plays a younger Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I don't know what Sebastian Stan would play other than Luke, to be a younger Mark Hamill version of him. But if you need, like at the end of Endgame, where an old guy is Captain America, and Bucky does the same thing at the end of Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Calling Mark
Hamill. Goes back in time, and then you see him as an old guy. You got Mark Hamill, big time.
They would never just age Sebastian Stan.
No.
As they did, what's his name? Oh, man.
Who?
Chris Evans.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so now it is time for us to go to the unknown regions where we talk about something fun outside the universe of Star Wars. And what's cool is this kind of came up right before we started what we should talk about. And it's other things that we are interested in when it comes to our voices. Yes. You want to talk a little bit about what is bringing this out in us, because I'm going to find a link to their Twitter.
Oh, the audition.
Yes.
The audition. What is it? It's a podcast, correct, Amundo?
Yeah, the Voice of All.
Voice of All is a Magic the Gathering podcast, and they take the books that Wizards of the Coast releases, and they hire actors to then read the parts, and they put it together to make an audiobook of all of the...
like a full audio drama with sound effects and all that stuff.
Yeah, and so they released... Well, when was that? That was a couple weeks ago. They said that they were doing their new book for Strixhaven.
That was last night.
Well, no. We first heard about it.
Oh, we first heard, yes.
We caught wind of it. And could you imagine if I confused last night with a couple weeks ago?
I know. I was like, oh my god.
I've done it before. I mean, I confused James Cameron with Steven Spielberg, which isn't that crazy. Well, it is, but forget it. We heard about it, and you said something about it, and you're like, I want to audition for this. And I was like, what are they doing? So then we checked them out, and they posted last night in their Twitter that the auditions are up now through March 30th, I believe.
Well, don't tell people how they can audition, because then they might get our parts that we want to get.
Do it. More the merrier, baby.
But no, honestly, it is just a fun thing that we would like to do some voice acting for them. Really great stuff. Even if you're not a Magic the Gathering fan, I will be honest, some of the books I've listened to that they've done are just good fantasy novels. Yeah, like they don't sit down and say like, oh, and then I'm going to cast a lightning bolt. Everybody knows what that is. It's not like that. They're like actual fantasy novels. They don't really dive into like, you have to know how to play the game. But I put in the chats their Twitter. If you want to just tweet at them and say, cast Tyler and Logan from @Chatter Squadron.
Oh, man, just really bully them into it.
In your upcoming thing. That would be hilarious. I would find that really, really funny.
It'd be funny if they purposely did not cast us, because they were like, we're just getting all... There's too many people.
But yeah, Logan, I keep putting him up in the... I knew you were going to do that. I keep buffing Logan up as a performer. because he is a trained actor and everything, and learned a lot of dialects in his acting classes and everything. Yeah. So one of the characters has a Scottish accent. So I'm not going to lie. Once we saw that the casting was posted last night, Logan was working on his Scottish dialect.
I haven't done it in so long.
Watching videos, working on small, little words to say differently.
Just watching clips of this movie Gregory's Girl, which is a Scottish film.
Yeah,
it's very good. It's kind of like it's not, because it's not meant to be like that, but it's like Napoleon Dynamite-esque, just kind of like very, very mellow. Check it out, Gregory's Girl. I don't know who directs it. Steven Spielberg.
Just keep giving Steven Spielberg random credits.
I watched a lot of Shrek. No, just kidding.
But yeah, so you were working on that, and then I'm going to be probably going for Luca, which is another character who is like a military man.
I was trained to fight, monsters.
Yeah. I was trained to fight monsters, not to train runts like you. So he's kind of like a military man. So I think that's the voice I'm going to go with. Hey, listen here, you runts. But Logan also likes the really deep one.
Yeah. Well, if you see I wish I could.
Yeah.
Unprepared.
Let's not overdo it too much.
Well, if I pulled it up, I was saying while you were doing that real grovelly voice, I was just looking at the character, the image that they put out there, right. And you nailed it. I was like, that's the one.
Well, like I said before last night with the gravelly voice thing, it just destroys my voice. But it would be like, I was trained to fight monsters, not train runts like you.
Going to like the WWE.
Hey, listen here, punk. I mean, I could try out and do this voice.
Meet me in the ring tonight.
Meet me in the ring. I'm going to cast lightning bolt on you.
That's awesome.
But no, I'm thinking of being a little bit more authoritarian.
Yeah. Military man.
Luca here.
I like that. That's like real.
Do you want to try the Will voice that you've been working on, the Scottish?
I just need a line. That's what I was looking for.
What if you do, Tyler, go for a Hulk Hogan voice, but you say that's what Trevor just said, but you say that in a Scottish dialect?
Tyler, go for a Hulk Hogan voice. Oh, see, it's so muddled.
No, it's good. Just
go for a Hulk Hogan voice. Hogan.
Just say
the miraculous work of the good king. I have one line from I think it's Matt. I think it's. Well, I won't say it because it's bad luck.
No,
the Scottish
play.
And the line is the miraculous work of the good king. And for some reason, I say that one line and it can get me into Scottish. The miraculous work of the good king.
See,
the miraculous work of the good king.
It's great.
I know. I just don't want to go I don't want to get cartoony with it.
Well, that's how I do any voice. Is I pick out one thing I can say like them, and that's how I do it. I'm not good at doing voices, but I'm good at saying some things.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe as our fight. See? Maybe as our fight. But he's a little more. The character is like, I'm trying to do it more reserved. You know, it's like a bookworm type of thing.
Yeah.
It's like we have to go to school. The double O too. School. Sure.
I might try out for that part as well and just say, hey guys, Tyler Bucks for Will. Can't do a Scottish accent, so we're just going to give it a shot without it.
Tyler, go for a Hulk Hogan voice.
Hulk Hogan.
That's real in the back. Hulk.
Trevor wants me to do a Hulk Hogan voice. Now listen here, brother.
That's good.
You better eat your vitamins and say your prayers.
Eat your vegetables.
Oh, geez. You sound like a smoker.
I'm a smoker.
It's me, the smoker. But
that's my WWE wrestler.
Yeah, the smoker.
That was the villain we came up. You remember the smoker?
What?
It was like the Joker, but he's always smoking like 10 cigarettes.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Smoker.
Old thing that we came up with. But Logan and I have done a bunch of different projects. Of course, Logan's done 1 billion plays. Is that what it is?
I think it's at 1 billion. No. I don't know. Actually, if I tallied them up, I've probably been at it for, how old am I? Like, probably 10 years. I think the first thing I did was in high school, and I got forced into it. I got forced into theater because I needed more guys per usual.
That's what you do.
Yeah. Then I'm trying to think. Yeah, that was probably when I was like 16, 17. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know what I was doing. Still don't.
Right. So, and then I've done a bunch of different stuff when it comes to like, fan films or just little productions. And then of course, everything we've done for Chatter Squadron. But like one of the first things I ever did was this Static Shock fan film that was written and I believe co-directed and then edited by Mike Calhoun, former host of the show.
Yeah.
And as well as my old roommate, Charles, and Johnny, who was on the show on Chatter Squadron, was in that as well. And that was one of my first tastes of doing like an actual production that was video. Like we've talked about before that I've been acting forever. My first role was Baby Jesus in a play. And so I was doing that forever. And then of course, making funny videos with you, funny videos with Johnny, and like just kind of doing that lightly. But this was the first, like, we're going to write a script. We're going to have a shot list. We're going to have actors. We're going to have sets and
all those
costuming and all that. And yeah, so that was my first kind of foray into that side of things.
Well, and then I ended up meeting
the person who played Static Shock,
which was crazy.
Right.
I was at work. I'll try to make this story short, because it already kind of is short. I was at work, and this one woman I was working with at the time, Jen, crew leader, we had this guy who, it was like the Cintas, like the uniform. They drive around and drop off the uniforms.
Oh, yes.
Which is odd because we didn't use them. So I don't know what they were dropping off uniforms for, because it wasn't for us, but we do share the building. So she came out and she was like, "Hey, I just found like this guy in there. You should go meet him. He says he's going to be a movie star." And because they all knew that I did acting, I just graduated college and started doing tree work. And I was like, "Oh, seriously?" So I went in and talked to him, and he was talking about like his new movie that he just did and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we started talking together and was like, "Oh, and I got his number. I got his name." I was like, "We got to work together on something." So we were shooting messages back and forth. I don't even know, how did I bring it up to you? Because then I said something to you and you were like, "Wait, that's the same guy that we worked with."
Yeah.
Which was crazy, because he was telling me about the Static Shock thing he worked on,
right?
Which was with you.
Exactly.
That's insane. It does blow my mind a little bit.
It's very strange. And then so we did that. We talked about the Hobbit fan film I did, which is online. Maybe I'll find that and put it into the chat. So I did that. I acted in that and helped, a little stuff of props and costuming and everything.
Right.
And then other things we did, being Calhoun and Johnny and we did in their original podcast, The Unbelievables, something called The Black Library, which is a play. It's an audio drama, but done in the style of a like an old timey radio drama that's spooky. And if you want to find it, just search The Unbelievables, Tyler Buck's Black Library, and it's in there. I think it's towards the middle. And then, of course, we did our Star Wars story, which is, I believe, on our first anniversary show for Chatter Squadron, which is called The Night Shift, where it just came from that idea of like, I wonder what the night shift workers of the cantina felt when they came in for work that day. It's like somebody's arm got cut off again, and apparently the stormtroopers are looking for rebels, and like it's just another day type thing. So we did a whole performance drama of that.
I remember listening to that, and I messaged you or called you or something. I was like, I loved it.
It's great.
You guys got to keep doing that. That's brilliant.
I love doing those types of things. And Logan, you've worked on, it was more student films, correct?
Yeah, I did like that. I did a lot of theater in college, but there was always people from the communications department. A lot of the film students obviously would need, they would write films, they would want to shoot them, so they'd need actors and who else to go to but the theater people.
Right.
It worked out. I'm sure you could find some of online. Some of them don't look up or do, I guess. But yeah, I worked on a couple. That was always hard too, was managing, like, because with theater, once you're in a show, it's like you have rehearsal while being in college too. And obviously after you're not at college, you have work.
Yeah.
It's either work or class, and then rehearsal at night. So then people are like, "Hey, do you want to do this film?" And it's like, I do. When am I going to have time for that?
Right.
But they were always very accommodating, all the directors and everyone. And that was cool too. Like you said, working on student films with all those moving parts, because a lot of times, like if we would shoot something together, it'd be like me and Tyler shooting it.
Right.
We were writing it kind of, and then shooting it, you know, or making it up on the spot. And then we kind of knew it. So this was cool to be like, okay, you got someone else's script and you have to go into makeup and you have to go into costume and you have to go in all this stuff. And then you do the scene and then the person didn't hit record for the audio and then you got to redo, you know, so that was always fun working with a bunch of different people. And it was fun. You know, it was like, obviously I could see in a professional, like a very professional high stakes setting where like time is literally thousands and millions of dollars. It could be stressful, but we always had a lot of fun with it.
But yeah, that's something we want to do some more of as we nail down, you know, the live show even more. We have a new video series we're working on and writing to finish. A little less performance art, but it's still kind of a scripted thing. And then we have another idea that's a little bit more of an off the cuff idea, but we're going to be working on a lot of that stuff. So be sure to, you know, keep an eye on what we're doing and keep supporting us. Like I said, you know, we just got a new patron, which is Commodore Benty. We will remember that
forever.
Right. And anytime somebody helps us out,
I've got a knife under the table.
Don't talk about the knife or I will stick you with it. But anytime somebody helps support us in any way that they can, whether it's sharing our stuff, whether it's telling another podcast to cast us in something, whatever it is, we highly appreciate everybody's help. But Logan, I think that's it for the Unknown Regions. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the viewer / listener?
I want to say, I love it.
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
I love it.
It's great.
That's my Scottish accent.
The glottal stop. It's all in the throat. The throat.
The throat.
That's. I'll end it just doing a poor Scottish dialect for you guys. That's